Wandering Winder here with a continuation of our opening series. This time we're looking at the card Ghost Town and how it affects openings. So, there's a few different interesting things to look at here. None of them happen when you have a 5-2 or a 2-5, because why would you want Ghost Town in that case? Don't at me. There's, I'm sure, some edge case where you would, but it's not going to be common. Yeah, so let's look at the first thing I want to look at here, which is opening silver silver. And then if you open silver silver on a ghost town board, there's a few things that can happen. One, you hit 5, right? You could just play it like a silver silver opening. You hit 5 on turns 3 and 4 just under 15% of the time, like we covered in the general video. And that seems to be what could be happening here. No, we hit 5-4, more likely. It's worth noting, if we back up a little bit here, turn 2, we're going to buy silver here. If we miss 5 on turn 3, we can buy a ghost town on turn 3. And at that point, you can do the math, but the way that it works out with all the combinations, you're actually guaranteed to hit 5 on turn 4 if you miss on turn 3, if you're willing to buy a ghost town on turn 3. If you hit 3 or 4 money on turn 3, you buy a ghost town. Then there's no combination of cards left in your deck where you're not going to hit 5 off of the 6 cards you're going to see. So that's going to put you through one card deeper than if you would have just bought whatever other card. So you only have one card from your turn 3-4 shuffle on turn 5, and you'll have a 5 for sure. So this is a very serious opening to consider, which you can do on 3-3 or 4 or 3-4 or 4-3. Which is silver silver into buy a ghost town on turn 3. If you miss 5, you're going to hit 5 there. I also want to note that with this opening, you are fairly likely to be able to hit 6 if that's what you're looking for. If you hit anything that's not 6 on turn 3, you buy a ghost town, and you have a reasonable chance of hitting 6 on turn 4. Pretty good chance. In actuality, whether you want to buy a ghost town on turn 3 or not is going to depend on a lot of factors. How good is the 6? How good is the 5 alternative? What's in your hand on turn 3? But if you're completely selling out for hitting 6 on turn 3 or 4, then silver silver into ghost town on turn 3 is going to give you over a 70% chance of hitting 6 on either turn 3 or turn 4. So I think that's worth noting. Yeah, so that's a good option. Silver silver into potential ghost town on turn 3, I think tends to be a pretty good option on a decent chunk of boards. The next option that I want to look at with ghost town is silver into ghost town. Now here, you're guaranteed once again to hit 5 on turn 3 or turn 4. This ghost town is going to be held out over the shuffle in duration land, so you're going to have 11 cards in your deck. Besides the ghost town, you're going to draw 6 of them on turn 3 and 5 of them on turn 4. That's your whole deck. And you have 9 money in your deck. Once again, there's no way to split up 9 money into 2 different hands that doesn't hit 5 at least once. So we're going to see, oh, my 6 card hand, I missed it here. I can buy whatever. I want to buy a spice merchant, I don't know. And I'm going to hit 5 on turn 4 here. So that is a decent option. Compared to the other option, you're going to be all the way through your deck after turn 4. You're not going to have that one card hanging out in the shuffle. And you're going to have the one ghost town for sure, potentially with some other card you've bought. Probably with some other card you've bought. And you're going to have one fewer silver. You could have the same number of silvers if you buy a silver on this non-5 hand and be further through. But you're giving up your chance of hitting 5 twice, right? 9 money split between 2 hands always hits 5, never hits 5 twice. So that's the trade-off between silver silver into potential ghost town on turn 3 and silver ghost town on turns 1 and 2. The last thing I want to look at is If you have a 3-4 exactly, then on turn 1 you can open Ghost Town. Now this is going to give you, you have 4 coppers and an estate down here. You're going to draw one of these 3 coppers or one of these 2 estates, one of those 5 cards in your turn 2 hand. Obviously that's 3 out of 5 or 60% chance to hit 5 on turn 2. If you hit 5 on turn 2, there's a small chance you're going to be able to play the 5 on turn 3, and a significant chance, quite a large chance, you're going to be able to play the 5 on turn 4. So that's something you might want to think about. On the other hand, you have a 40% chance of missing 5 on turn 2. If you would miss 5 here, if you would have drawn an estate here, what you would want to do is buy a silver, or potentially another card, but just in the general case, you buy a silver here, and then on turn 3, you're going to miss 5, most likely, unless you draw exactly that silver. If you draw that silver, you're happy, you get your 5. If you don't, then you buy another Ghost Town, and you are about 2/3, I think, if I've done the math right, overall in the case where you, of the 40%, to hit 5 anyway by the end of turn 4, buying Ghost Towns appropriately. And yeah, so overall, this plan is much closer to silver silver in being able to hit 5 at least once by the end of turn 4, but you also have a significant high roll potential of having 5 on turn 2, that 60% chance. So it's a little bit higher risk, higher reward. Full disclosure, I don't think I've ever done that opening of turn 1 Ghost Town on 3-4, but it is something to keep in mind depending on the 5 in question, and depending on, again, how much you want silver, how much you want to hit 2 5s, how much you want to be cycling through your deck by having a bunch of Ghost Towns. All of these Ghost Town openings you probably don't want to do very much if you don't want Ghost Towns in your deck long term, but they are things to be thinking about otherwise. This is a bit of a longer in-depth because there are so many scenarios, but hopefully we've covered most of your questions about opening Ghost Town. Thanks very much.